Good morning, Facebook. How's everybody doing today? Today's Monday. Monday is the day governed by the moon, and the moon is currently over in Sagittarius. I wanted to come in a little bit, of course, and invite you all to join the 13 Moons Initiation. Hi, Terrell. How are you? I know it's Monday morning, but it's the solstice. We're in the solstice time, and so we are. The solstice goes for hey Fee, good morning. The solstice goes for the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd. Some people think it's the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, whatever it is. But yes, right, Monday, Moon Day, I love that. The thing that's so fascinating to me about understanding the energies of the days and not thinking of them in the Western world and the way that we think of them from the Western perspective is that when we understand that Monday is the day governed by the moon, and Tuesday is the day governed by Mars, and Wednesday is the day governed by Mercury, and good morning, and Thursday is the day governed by Jupiter, and Friday is the day governed by Venus. It's one of the things that they like to say is that we should and the way to change your life is to transform your mind. And one of the things to help transform your mind is, and let me just say this, it's really challenging to transform your mind. It is not an easy thing to transform your mind because we do the same thing. Like we go to work every Monday, we go to work every Tuesday, we do the same things at work, we are with the same people. And so that's patterns get created. And when the patterns get created, your mind, it's like hi LaDonna, it's like you're taking the same route to the same destination every time. And so changing your mind, transforming your mind is rigorous. One of the ways that I did it was by studying astrology and starting to learn how to read symbols, right? So symbols like the gifts, like the symbol of the planet Mercury, the symbol of Virgo, the symbol of Venus. And what happens is when you start to read symbols, good morning, Belinda, good morning, Sandy. When you start to read symbols, you understand the meanings expand, right? So now, like if you think of Friday, rather than thinking of like the last day of the week or I have to do this at work, it's like Venus Day. Oh, Venus is like about restoration and refilling myself and replenishing myself. So all of a sudden, Friday has a different meaning in your mind than just what you have to do to get yourself finished at work, or you're so tired and you've been working all week. Like you really want to begin to have a new conversation inside of energy so that your mind is more expansive than contracted, right? One of the things that I noticed really early on when I was young and I studied history at Howard University, and I used to have the privilege of studying in these incredible libraries, the Library of Congress and all that sort of stuff. You know, all of these institutions are filled with blood. Let me just say that. I mean, I've had to make peace with a lot of that. A lot of these institutions and information and wisdom is all the bloody history of this country. But nonetheless, it's still human experience. And so I just love that no matter what. And when I was studying in the Library of Congress and I was studying history at Howard University, I realized that all the stories about Black people were like rooted in slavery. Every story was rooted in like some need to be free, some oppression, some like all of it was that. All of that. Hi, Ifoma. And so I realized that the stories that story is everything. Everything is so. When you meet somebody and they tell you how they're doing, they tell you a story. When your children come home from school and they tell you how the day was, they tell you a story. When you talk to your friends and you share information, you're sharing stories, right? So stories are very significant in our human experience. And when I realized that there were no stories of Black people that were outside of slavery, I understood that it was impeding upon the way that we really see ourselves and know ourselves. And when I started to really study the stories of Black people who were captive here in this country, I realized that the trauma of those stories has really, those, not just the trauma of the stories, the trauma of the experiences, right? The trauma of the experiences really changed the way our brains work. Like we really don't understand how traumatic it has been for our ancestors to experience 400 consecutive years of oppression, of rape, of brutalization, of testing, of just like if you like I loved history so much that I had to study it. And people go, well, how could you do that? Because I was compelled by it. I literally was compelled. And to hear the stories of what our ancestors went through, it is so subhuman. But the result of that has impacted us in ways that we don't even know. And here's the thing that I'm so clear about. Like, we are such amazing beings, but it's all hidden under trauma. Because you cannot undo 400 years of trauma without deliberately doing the work to heal yourself. You cannot heal 400 years of trauma in one generation. It's not possible. And we are the first generation who are really free. And we're free to, and we're not really free. Let me just say that we're not really free. What we are is we're not slaves in the way, or captives in the way that we were when we got here. But this country, capitalism, the medical system, the education system, all of it is out of alignment with who we are divinely. So in many ways, we are still captives because we are not functioning in the way that aligns with our natural frequencies, with our vibration, with who we are. As people who are born or meant to live near the equator, and I'm telling you, we're in the solstice right now. And so the solstice is when the light exchanges, right? And so when you're a person who lives near the equator, or born near the equator, you carry more light because you're not far away from, so your frequency means you hold more light when you are near the equator. And because we are away from the equator as Black people, as descendants of, as captives, we are far away from the equator. We are not registering the levels of light in our psyches that give us supreme health, is what I would say. So that's like when you read Western medical information, they will say things like Black women have higher rates of breast cancer. Black people have higher rates of diabetes, all of these sort of things. And the reason we do is because we're not receiving enough light in our nervous systems, which then generate our hormones, which make us healthy because we are away from the equator, right? So it makes us susceptible and vulnerable to disease and things that are not in alignment for us. But here's the thing. We have been conditioned through this trauma of 400 years of slavery, and we're just now 100 years out. And we have not, I'm sorry, my neck. And we have not done the work to repair our psyches because we just have gone into capitalism, like get money. That's the motto, right? Get money, get shit, get things, get all of that stuff totally enslaves you. The more you aspire to this Western world of being, the more it enslaves you. Because you see, if you own a house, the house owns you. If you own a car, the car owns you. Unless you're paying for things outright, right? So that's just the way of capitalism. But the thing that is significant for us to understand that now the energy on the planet is changing and you can see it. I think many of us can feel it. If you can feel it, say you can feel it. If you can feel that there's an energy shift happening, tell me that you can feel it. Like, of course, we can see it in our country. We can see what's going on with the government and all that sort of stuff. But all that's energy. That's because the energy systems. Yours, it says semen. I like semen too. I'm kidding. I have a horrible, dirty sense of humor. Okay. Yes, you can feel it within you, right? And so if you can feel it, it's because the energies are shifting. So the energies are shifting, and because the energies are shifting internally, it's because it's like the alignments are off, right? So it's like we used to be aligned this way, and now we're aligned this way, right? And so now we're going to get more and more out of alignment with the system that we're in. And here's the thing that's so fascinating: as I've started studying astrology, and I encourage all of you to study astrology. Please study your charts so you can know what you can do. The thing about astrology is that it tells us our relationship to the universe. So the astrology tells me that I have a Gemini moon, right? So because I have a Gemini moon, I have a need to seek out information. It's like a part of me. I'm like, oh my God. And because my midheaven is in Sagittarius, which is the disseminator of wisdom, the information that I seek out in my moon becomes wisdom that I can share with everybody. But I'm made that way. And when you study astrology, you learn how you're made so that you can then go back and start to rebuild those frequencies inside of you that have been dissolved, or it's not dissolved, that have been traumatized under the experience of slavery, of captivity in this country, right? Because what happens is we pass down, for 7 generations, we pass down the trauma of our grandparents, right? So we are still living in the traumatized frequency of our great-great-grandparents who were slaves. So it is our responsibility and opportunity to heal ourselves and become who we're really here to be, because we don't have to completely subject ourselves to this system any longer. It does not hold power over us, but it holds the power that we give it, right? So the first thing that you can begin to do is start to align yourself to a natural cycle. The moon has a natural cycle. The sun has a natural cycle. Mercury runs a natural cycle. Nature, the seasons run a natural, exactly, generational trauma, exactly. The seasons run a natural cycle. And when you do that, you will shift the energetic, your brain will start to realign to its natural way of being. Like, of course, I still think the way, I was trained to think, but so much of that is going away from me because I don't align myself with those cycles any longer. I'm aligning myself with the cycles of nature and the cycles of light. So the thing that's to understand as people with melanin, like that we have a relationship to the sun that's different. Everybody has melanin. Black people have the type of melanin that absorbs the light of the sun and runs electricity through our bodies. White people have the type of melanin that is burned by the sun. And so as the sun changes and the energy we're seeing nature is changing. We're seeing what are they keep talking about, I cannot stand when I lose words. Okay, the cycles of nature are changing. So we're seeing all these hurricanes and all that kind of stuff. And that is all connected to the power of the sun. Everything is one thing, right? Everything is one thing. So the surface of the sun is changing. It is beginning to create more light. So that means that the earth is going to be getting more light, and the people who are going to be able to function are the people who absorb the light, the people who absorb it. And here's the thing, it's very important that we clean out our psyches, because if we're holding on to belief systems, because when you get more light, it enhances the shadow. Where is the shadow? Inside of us, underneath that trauma, right? So it makes it painful. So you hear stories of, discontent and fear and all that's because that's in your psyche, because you have lived through 400 years of trauma. So you've got to do your internal work and clean out your psyche, or it will make you crazy, because all of the light that's coming in from the sun, and it's going to begin increasing. It's starting to increase, and we're going to have an eclipse on on Christmas Day. We're having an eclipse. Yes, the earth has always been tilted, though. The earth has always been tilted and has spun on an axis like this. It's a tilted axis. So it doesn't spin like this. It spins like this on a tilt. And that's a part of a cycle as well. So I don't want to make this a biology lesson or really what I want to do. My concern is to help people navigate the new energies that are coming. To help people navigate, because it's changing, you all. It's changing. And the Western world is not going to tell us this, because it wants to keep us depressed and sad and sick, so that we have to go get medicine and you don't need any of that shit. You don't need any of it. You don't. But it will have you convinced that you do. And so I am here. Please share the video. Please share this video on your page. Share it with your friends. Just share the video. I am here to help you understand this in a different way. And that's why I titled this Changing the Narrative. It's very important that we realize that the narrative has been designed by the people in power, by the government, and the government serves itself. It doesn't serve its citizens, it serves itself. And so it's very important that we begin to take our power back. And the first way to do that is by transforming your mind. One of the things you can do is turn off the television, or don't watch commercials, or only watch things that are uplifting. Do not listen to the radio in your car. When you get in the radio in the car and they're like, file bankruptcy, and if you need this medication and all that kind of stuff, all that is programming you and making you afraid. It's in your subconscious. You don't know that it's happening, but it scares you. It makes you go, it makes you feel like somebody's gonna die, or makes you feel like, and when you get afraid like that, it sends out signals. Like, you begin to send out signals of fear, and then you draw more fear into you. And you're so powerful at it because you have melanin, melanin that draws in the light. So you have a greater capacity to create a reality from within you than others, because of the melanin that you're pulling in, the melanin that is drawing in the light of the sun. I was watching a video yesterday on Instagram that they're trying to make synthetic melanin. Why? To help people who get skin cancer. Who are the people who get skin cancer? People who don't have dark skin. Yes, some black people might get skin, but that's a rare thing, because the whole continent of Africa is not experiencing skin cancer, and they don't use sunblock. You gotta understand this shit, okay? This is not, this is a real thing that's happening. It really is real. And so when you absorb the light, if your psyche is still filled with trauma and despair and hopelessness and fear and all that sort of stuff, it's going to make you more afraid. So the work is for you to clean yourself out, clean your mind, transform your mind from the stories that you have of fear, or being a black person in this country, or that the police are out to get you, or people don't like you. Transform your mind, because your mind is what is creating your reality, and it's going to be even more so as we come on the other side of this eclipse. And you don't transform your mind by resisting thoughts. You have to literally transform it into something else. You have to begin to realign your thinking in ways that are more in alignment with nature, right? And so, for instance, if you look at a tree, hey Chastity, if you look at a tree releases its leaves, it turns colors, and it does not resist any of that. I'm just giving you one little example of nature, right? A tree is happy completely covered in leaves, or happy completely naked. And so as we do our own process, right? So one of the things that I'm making peace with, like a tree, it's like, oh, my hair is gray now. It's just gray. It's what it is. There was a time when I was trying to dye it and make it be this color and that color because I didn't want to look a certain way and all that. But that is an energetically, I'm sending out a signal to the universe that I am at odds with what is. So what happens then? That means I will continue to attract situations from a deep internal space that I am not at peace with what is. So we've got to be able to understand how our thinking is creating our realities. It's very deep, it's very subtle, but it shows up in every day in how we interact with others and ourselves and the environment at the deepest level of ourselves. When I wake up in the morning, immediately the thing I do, I check in. Do I feel open-hearted or am I shut down? And lately, because of the solstice energy, I've been feeling some fear. So I'm like, okay, there's still some fear in there for me. So I will wake up and do breathing work to align my energy to the truth that there is only abundance, that life is eternal, that all my needs are met, that I have never been alone, that I have always been loved. I align myself to those thought processes so that those thought processes get planted in my psyche at the beginning of the day so that I will live that throughout the day. I go to sleep meditating, thinking about those things so that I can reprogram my thoughts to understand that tomorrow. So I start reprogramming myself at 6:00 in the evening, the night before, right? I'm reprogramming myself and I'm preparing myself for the next day. It's going to be successful. We're going to have a good day. Like all of that. And I'm going to attract people who are in alignment with what I'm doing. I'm going to be an inspiration. I'm going to be a healing vessel for the people that are in contact with me. Literally transforming my mind, reprogramming my mind. And if we don't reprogram our minds, we are not going to be happy campers on the other side of this eclipse energy. So I encourage you to begin to do the work of reprogramming. Join the 13 Moons Initiation. This is the work that we teach people in this course. Every month we teach people how to reprogram because the current construct is coming undone. And it is important that we align ourselves to that which is nature and to that which is natural so that we can thrive, not just survive, so that we can thrive. Okay, I encourage you to share the video. Remember, change the narrative, question your thoughts, question everything you think. Ask yourself why. Every single time you hear a thought, ask yourself, why do I think this? Why do I feel this? Why? And in the questioning of why do I call myself black? Why do I call myself black? Is that true? Black. Well, what does that mean in this country? Well, black means that you were a slave. That black means that you don't have rights. Black means all these sort of things in this country. Well, where does that live inside of me? Where are those beliefs living inside of me? Like, question everything. I'm just giving you an example of how I do it, right? Motherhood. Well, what is motherhood? Oh, well, motherhood means that I'm totally responsible for this being. Like that everything I do is for them. And, well, is that true? And, well, what is motherhood to me? Like, question everything. Yes, black does mean we're beautiful. Absolutely. So, but we got to get to that because there are a lot of people that think that black means that you are nothing. And also, so we've had to really question all of our thinking so that we can get clear about what's running us, right? If you're experiencing scarcity or fear, why am I afraid? Why am I afraid of this person? Why do I believe this person is out to get me? Why do I think this person lied to me? Why did I tell that lie? Why did I lie? Why didn't I tell the truth? Why don't I know how I feel? Ask questions of yourself all the time. Okay, I'm done. Peace and blessings. Come join the moon work. If you join over the solstice, it's $20 for the first month. Peace and blessings. All right. Bye.